The ICU was quiet at 2 in the morning, just the steady beep of monitors and the whisper of ventilators keeping vigil over patients who couldn't speak for themselves. Nurse Olivia Bennett moved through the dimmed hallway with practiced efficiency, checking charts, adjusting IVs, offering comfort to those few patients who were awake and afraid. She'd been working the night shift at Metropolitan General for 3 years now, ever since graduating from nursing school. At 26, she was one of the youngest nurses in the ICU, but her dedication had earned respect from even the most seasoned doctors. Room 407 was her last stop of the rounds. The patient had been there for 6 weeks now, ever since the car accident that had left him in a coma. According to his chart, his name was Daniel Garrison, 38 years old, CEO of Garrison Tech Industries. The hospital administrator had mentioned in hushed tones that he was worth hundreds of millions, but to Olivia, he was just another patient who needed care. She entered the room quietly, though there was no one to disturb. Daniel lay motionless, as he had every night, connected to machines that tracked his heart rate, his breathing, his brain activity. His family had stopped visiting weeks ago. His business partner came occasionally, but spent most of the time on phone calls in the hallway. Olivia had learned from the day shift nurses that Daniel had no wife, no children. His parents were deceased. He'd built his empire alone, and now faced this crisis the same way. It made her heartache. She began her routine care, checking his vitals, adjusting his position to prevent bed sores, ensuring his IV was flowing properly. Then she prepared warm water and soap for his bed bath, a task many nurses rushed through, but one Olivia took seriously. "Good evening, Mr. Garrison," she said softly, as she always did, even though he couldn't hear her. The textbook said coma patients might be aware on some level, and even if they weren't, Olivia believed in treating every patient with dignity. "I'm going to get you cleaned up now. I'll be as gentle as I can." She worked carefully, washing his face, his arms, his chest. She talked to him as she worked, telling him about her day, about the funny thing her cat had done that morning, about the book she was reading. "You know, Mr. Garrison, the doctors say your brain activity is good. They think you might wake up soon. I hope they're right. I hope you're in there somewhere, fighting to come back." She moisturized his skin to prevent dryness, combed his hair, trimmed his nails with meticulous care. Other nurses did these tasks quickly, mechanically, but Olivia treated each patient as if they were her own family member. "I like to think you can hear me," she continued, positioning him more comfortably. "I like to think these little acts of kindness matter, even if you don't remember them when you wake up. My grandmother taught me that. How we treat people when they can't do anything for us in return, that's who we really are." She was adjusting his blanket when his hand twitched. Olivia froze. She'd seen involuntary movements before, meaningless muscle spasms, but something about this felt different. She looked at his face and gasped. His eyes were open, not the blank, unfocused stare of someone emerging slowly from unconsciousness, but clear, aware eyes, looking directly at her. "Mr. Garrison, can you hear me? Squeeze my hand if you can hear me." His fingers closed around hers, weak but deliberate. Olivia's heart raced. "I'm going to call the doctor. Don't try to move. Just stay calm. You're going to be okay." She pressed the call button, her voice urgent but controlled as she reported the situation. Within minutes, the room filled with doctors and specialists, all amazed at what they were witnessing. Coma patients didn't usually wake up this suddenly, this completely aware. Dr. Matthews examined him carefully. "Mr. Garrison, do you know where you are? Blink once for yes, twice for no, one blink. Do you remember what happened? One blink. That's remarkable. Your recovery is going to take time, but your cognitive function appears intact. This is nothing short of miraculous." As the medical team worked, Daniel's eyes kept finding Olivia. She stood back, letting the doctors do their work, but every time she moved, his gaze followed her. Finally, Dr. Matthews removed the breathing tube, a delicate process that left Daniel coughing and weak. They gave him ice chips, told him not to try speaking yet, but Daniel had other ideas. "The nurse," he whispered, his voice rough from weeks of disuse. "The one who was talking to me. Where is she? Olivia stepped forward. I'm right here, Mr. Garrison. I'm Olivia. His eyes filled with tears. It was always you. Every night. Your voice. That's what kept me tethered. That's what brought me back. The room went quiet. Dr. Matthews looked between them with interest. You could hear her? While you were in the coma? Daniel nodded weakly. Not at first. At first, there was just darkness and silence. But then I started hearing a voice. Kind, gentle, talking to me like I mattered. Not about stock prices or board meetings, but about cats and books and just everyday life. It gave me something to focus on, something to fight toward. Olivia felt tears streaming down her face. I talked to you every night. I didn't know if you could hear me. I just thought everyone deserves kindness. You told me about your grandmother, Daniel continued, his voice getting slightly stronger. About how she taught you to care for people. You told me about your dream of opening a clinic for underserved communities. You talked to me like a friend, not like a job. And somewhere in that darkness, I realized I wanted to live. Not to get back to my company or my empire, but to meet the person who saw me as human when I couldn't even see myself. Over the next few weeks, Daniel's recovery progressed remarkably. Physical therapy helped him regain strength, but he insisted that Olivia remain his primary nurse, and the hospital, aware of his importance as a patient, agreed. She continued to care for him, but now they talked together, really talked. Daniel told her about building his company from nothing, about sacrificing relationships for success, about the emptiness that came with achieving everything while connecting with no one. I was driving to another late meeting when the accident happened, he admitted one evening. I was thinking about how tired I was of the loneliness, how I'd built this empire, but had no one to share it with. And then everything went black. And then you woke up. Olivia said softly, to you, to someone who cared for me when I had nothing to offer in return. Do you know how rare that is? Most people in my life want something from me. My money, my influence, my connections. You just wanted to make sure I was comfortable and clean and treated with dignity. Olivia smiled. That's my job. It's more than that. It's who you are. When Daniel was finally discharged 3 months after waking up, he made Olivia an offer. Your dream. The clinic for underserved communities. Let me fund it. I want to be your partner in making it happen. Daniel, can't accept that. It's too much. You gave me my life back. You reminded me what life is actually for. This isn't charity. It's an investment in the kind of world where people like you can do the work they're meant to do. The clinic opened a year later. Olivia ran it with the same compassion she'd shown Daniel in his hospital room. And Daniel, who'd stepped back from his CEO role to focus on philanthropy, worked alongside her, learning that true wealth wasn't measured in bank accounts, but in lives touched. On the clinic's opening day, Daniel stood beside Olivia as they cut the ribbon. You know what I realized while I was in that coma? He said quietly. I heard everything you said, but I also felt everything you did. The gentleness when you bathed me. The care you took with simple things. You treated me with dignity when I couldn't advocate for myself. That's when I understood what my wealth was really for. Not to build bigger companies, but to support people like you who understand what it means to serve others. Olivia squeezed his hand. You know what I realized? That every act of kindness matters, even when we think no one notices. You were fighting to come back, and somehow my small acts of care helped give you a reason to keep fighting. They become partners in the truest sense. United by a moment when one person's unconscious struggle met another person's conscious compassion. Daniel funded the clinic, but he also volunteered there, learning from Olivia what it meant to see people, not problems or profit margins. And sometimes, late at night, when the clinic was quiet, Daniel would find Olivia checking on sleeping patients, talking to them softly, even though they couldn't respond, treating each person with the same dignity she'd shown him. You're still doing it, he'd say with a smile, of course, because you never know who might be listening. You never know what small act of kindness might be the thing that brings someone back from the darkness. She'd been right all along. How we treat people when they can't do anything for us in return reveals who we really are. And sometimes, those moments when we're most vulnerable create connections that change everything. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales of compassion and unexpected miracles. Comment below about a time when someone cared for you, when you couldn't care for yourself, or when your kindness made a difference you never expected. Let's celebrate those who serve others with dignity and grace.